Swadee ka. Thank you for joining us on Newsline. We're broadcasting live on NBT Radio Thailand FM 88 and on NBT World. It's a Tuesday and the date is May 19th of 2015 and you're with me, Sandra Hanutsaha. Welcome to today's segment of Thailand Moves Forward. In our first story for today, the Prime Minister held a meeting with his deputy to discuss Thailand's handling of the Rohingya migration situation. General Prayut Chan-o-cha, the Prime Minister, said that UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has shown his appreciation for Thailand's sincere stance in helping solve the problems of the Rohingya during their recent conversation. The Prime Minister added that he has assured the UN chief that Thailand will provide any humanitarian assistance to the boat people while respecting both Thai and international laws after Mr. Ban expressed concerns about the health conditions of some migrants. He said that Thailand will try to seek more cooperation from 15 other countries during an upcoming meeting on the issue, which is scheduled on May 29th, before presenting the results to relevant international organizations. Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister General Prawit Wongsuwan said that Thai authorities will be ready to bring ashore any Rohingya migrants found in Thailand's waters to be detained under the law related to illegal entry to the country if they agree with such conditions. Otherwise, they will be provided with needed mechanical help and food supplies and water, as well as medical help, before they continue on their journey to a third country. The government is preparing to release another 2 million tons of rice within the next 2 months in order to minimize effects on the new rice crop due this month. Chutima Bunyaprapason, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Commerce, disclosed after the meeting of the Rice Management and Policy Committee that the meeting discussed the release of 16 million tons of rice within the government stockpile. Of the figure, 5 million tons are high-quality rice. 2 million tons have already been sold, and another 2 million will be sold within 2 months. Meanwhile, more than 10 million tons of rice in the stockpile are low-quality rice. The Ministry of Commerce will have surveyor companies inspect this portion of rice to determine whether the rice can be used as human or animal food. If not, this portion of rice will be sold to ethanol or alcohol factories. The Ministry of Commerce expects to fetch about 200 billion baht from the sale of all 16 million tons of rice in stock. The rice had been acquired at a cost of about 600 billion baht. The government has been able to sell 3.4 million tons of rice since the start of the year. The Commerce Ministry expects to be able to sell rice at between 8,200 to 8,500 baht per ton. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha asserted on Monday that there is a long-term plan to allocate land to underprivileged people who need land to make a living. General Prayut explained that although the government intends to allocate land for some 300,000 poverty-stricken people, he cannot yet say which method of allocation will be employed. He added that the allocation will be a long-term process and succeeding governments will need to adhere to this process. The Prime Minister also noted that the government does not have the resources to allocate as much land as demanded by those in need. General Dapong Ratanapsuwan, the Minister of Natural Resources and Environment, revealed after Monday's meeting of the National Land Allocation Committee that the meeting resolved to reduce the fee for exploitation of land under the committee-sponsored projects to 25 baht from 50 baht. The committee also agreed to allocate land at another site following the success of its first round of allocations. The second round of allocations will involve 9,164 rai of land and 1,862 eligible persons. The Mass Media and Telecommunications Reform Committee of the National Reform Council, or NRC, has proposed that media reforms be guided by freedom of the press as well as journalism ethics and responsibility. Associate Professor Jumpon Rodkamdi revealed that his committee has aimed to bring Thailand's media up to international standards of journalism for the benefit of its credibility and the general public. The reforms require improvement in media personnel, content, and technology, while ensuring the legal protection and welfare of its professionals. Media at the local level should be encouraged through various incentives, such as competitions and awards. Media professionals must maintain ethical standards and accountability in presenting extensive and credible news to the public. To this end, the committee proposed that ethics be included in all journalism curricula. The Thai Social Democratic Party has submitted its proposal for changes of the draft constitution, including the section related to the composition of the Senate. Constitution Drafting Committee, or CDC Chairman Bawansa Uwano, on Monday accepted a letter from leader of the Thai Social Democratic Party, Somsak Gosaisuk, asking for a number of changes in the draft charter. The proposed changes are about personal freedom, the directive principle of state policy, the qualification of the eligible election candidates, and the origin of the senators. In the proposal, the Thai Social Democratic Party specifically asked for the increase in the number of senators who are elected from the labor sector, academics, and local communities to be 44, and to lower the number of appointed senators to accommodate this increase. The Minister of Agriculture and Cooperatives is opting to address the problem of flooded paddies in Pisanulok by discharging water from reservoirs 1 month in advance of the regular discharge time. Pitipong Phungbun Nayutaya, the Minister of Agriculture and Cooperatives, said farmers on the plains of the Yom and Nan rivers frequently had to endure the problem of flooded paddies toward the end of the harvesting period. In order to address this problem, water discharge will be made 1 month sooner so that farmers can work on their paddies 1 month in advance. Consequently, harvest will likely take place in September. The Royal Irrigation Department has been discharging water to farmers in Pisanulok since April 1st. 94 million cubic meters of water is expected to be discharged from Naresuan Dam during the rainy season. It is expected that this would be beneficial to 95,750 rai of farmland. The Irrigation Department officials indicated that with the earlier discharge of water, farmers should be able to harvest their produce before the flood season hits in September. The Thai economy went up slightly in the first quarter of this year. According to the National Economic and Social Development Board, or NESDB, the country's gross domestic product, or GDP, from January to March grew just 0.3% from its previous quarter and grew 3% year-on-year. The initial projection was 3.4%. The agency also slashed its forecasts for exports and economic expansion for 2015, but expected the second quarter to slightly increase from the first. This year's GDP growth forecast was cut to 3% to 4% from 3.5% to 4.5%. Meanwhile, export growth was lowered from 3.5% to 0.2%. The agency said rising government spending had not effectively dealt with declining exports and local demand. The Office of the Ombudsman Thailand has launched short films and documentaries to encourage Thais to start performing good deeds on a daily basis. Since values, ethics, and morality are vital and very important topics that need to be encouraged, the Office of the Ombudsman Thailand has launched 7 short films and documentaries aimed at informing the general public of their duties as Thai citizens, strengthening Thai morality, and motivating Thai people to perform good deeds without hesitation. Professor Siracha Wongsarayangkoon, Chief Ombudsman of Thailand, said that the documentaries instill fundamental moralities such as being honest, disciplined, sufficient, and environmentally friendly.
Well, the purpose of the short story, film, and feature is to communicate with the Thai society that we are going to campaign about the morality, especially the 5 fundamental morality that I have mentioned before. And we think that these 5 fundamental morality is the need of society, of the Thai society, that everyone must have it, because it's the thing that will help the Thai society to stay forever.
The short films and documentaries are one of the paths to developing Thai morality, setting moral and ethical standards. Morality are the standard values and must be observed and practiced in order to lead to the betterment of Thai society. After evaluating a total of 435 schools in Bangkok, the Office for National Education Standards and Quality Assessment, or UNESCO, a public accreditation organization, found that about 90%, or 389 schools, are considered above average. By following its criteria, UNESCO has assessed the actual quality of schools it has evaluated. Professor Dr. Thanarong Pornrungrod, the director of UNESCO, said that schools in Bangkok have improved significantly during the past 15 years, or 3 rounds of assessments.
Talking about the quality culture, Thailand, we set the quality assurance like as internal quality assurance. That is, each school have to evaluate themselves every year, every year. And they have to be assessed by the Ministry of Education, or this by Bangkok, every 3 years, and have to be assessed by UNESCO or SOMOSO, or Office for National Education Standard and Quality Assessment, once every 5 years. I think this is the quality culture because they do it regularly, not follow the standard, but higher than the standard.
Parachaniwet School, a public school regularly listed as one of 11 good examples over the past 15 years, achieved its standing due to its adherence to the curriculum set by the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration and activities to support a learning environment. Teachers at the school are evaluated frequently in order to maintain their high level of performance. Dr. Thanarong added that regular assessments of educational quality are needed in a bid to develop Thailand's educational system. Thai society is tightly knit. Its people have a deep love for peace, and most Thais are followers of Buddhism. They believe that making merit at temples will bring prosperity to life. An example of this can be seen in Sating Prat district in Songkhla province, where Wat Phakho is located. This monastery used to be the site where highly revered หลวงปู่ทวด took abode.
Religion is a spiritual refuge. For Thais, Buddhism is a tool to polish mind of members of the society, teaching them to have compassion towards each other so that they live together in peace. The center of faith of all Buddhists is Wat or monastery. Since the old days, Wat is the place where people learn about the Buddha's teachings. It is where Buddhist wisdoms are nurtured.
การสั่งสอนของพระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้าเราไม่ได้เอายึดเหนี่ยวตรงนั้นไปใช้เลยมนุษย์เราเด็กคนเราเนี่ยมีการอิจฉาริษยากันใช่ไหมเรามีการอิจฉาริษยากันเลยทำอย่างไรก็ต้องเนี่ยคือเอาความถูกต้องความเข้าใจตามหลักคำสั่งสอนของพระบรมศาสดาไปประพฤติและปฏิบัติ
In Sathingphra district in Songkhla province stands Wat Phra Kho or Phra Kho temple where highly revered Buddhist monk called Luang Pu Thuat used to dwell and was his abbot. Phra Kho temple or Rajapradisathan temple located in Sathingphra district of Songkhla province. This monastery is more than 400 years old and has won high respect from locals. Therefore, this place has a large number of visitors every year.
หลวงปู่ทวดเหยียบน้ำทะเลจืดของดั้งเดิมของแท้ก็คืออยู่ที่วัดพระโคอำเภอสถิงพระจังหวัดสงขลาซึ่งมีประวัติที่ยาวนานไม่น้อยกว่า400 ปีวัดพระโคเป็นที่จำพรรษาของหลวงปู่ทวดเหยียบน้ำทะเลจืดนั่นเอง
Phra Kho temple has been well known because it was an abode of this Buddhist monk who became renowned for his teachings, austere Buddhist and meditation practice, and many miracles were attributed to him. It is therefore not surprising that Buddhists from all of the country often come here to worship this statue and ask for blessing for their life and families.
มีความรู้สึกว่าสบายใจขึ้นค่ะคือขออะไรก็โอเคแล้วมีความศรัทธาเลื่อมใสในตัวพี่เองอยู่ศรัทธากันมานานแล้วเนาะตั้งแต่สมัยพ่อสมัยแม่แล้วก็เลื่อมใสค่ะ
The Buddhist practice of the people has become Thailand's identity, and Buddhist teachings help assure Thais that they are walking in the right direction to obtain peace and happiness. These traits have become heritage handed down from generation to generation.
And that's the end of today's edition of Thailand Moves Forward. It's time for a quick break, but first here's a look at the exchange rates and commodity prices.
Even if we don't see them, they are amongst us. And they're hungry. Slay your power-sucking monsters. Take their power away. Think when you plug.
To maintain a strong nation, Thailand is promoting 12 core values for the good of the people. The 11th core value: keeping physical and mental strength, unyielding to evil powers or desires, having a sense of shame over guilt and sins in accordance with religious principles.
Nepal has recently been hit by a massive 7.8 magnitude earthquake. The disaster has caused great damage to the country. thousands of people lost their lives. Thousands of people lost their family. Thousands of people lost their homes. Millions of people are still in dire need of support. You can lend a helping hand by donating to these accounts.
We have received many calls offering help in kind, means trying to send goods, and they are asking how we can help. We are really humbled by the offer of the government and the people of Thailand for our people in Nepal, and we highly appreciate it.
Welcome back to Newsline. Minister of Transport Air Chief Marshal Prachin Chantong has revealed that his ministry has submitted to the Prime Minister a progress report on its work related to the improvement of aviation safety in Thailand. Following the concerns expressed by the International Civil Aviation Organization, or ICAO, over Thailand's aviation safety standards, Air Chief Marshal Prachin Chantong affirmed that the restructuring of the Department of Civil Aviation, or DCA, is underway, and Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has already been informed of related developments. The Transport Minister added that the Premier has been requested to consider using Section 44 of the Interim Constitution to adjust the roles of the DCA and increase the number of personnel within the agency. If approved, all details pertaining to the DCA's new structure could be publicized within this month. As for the safety evaluation of Thai Airlines, Air Chief Marshal Prachin disclosed that the manual used as reference in the process has been updated in accordance with ICAO's guideline, and it will be put to use on June 1st. And now for news from elsewhere in the world. The takeover of the Iraqi city of Ramadi by Islamic State fighters is a significant setback and makes the coalition battle plan against the insurgents longer and less pretty, a leading expert told Reuters on Monday. Islamic State, or ISIL militants, said they had taken full control of the western Iraqi city of Ramadi on Sunday, in the biggest defeat for the Baghdad government since last summer. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, along with the Pentagon, played down the development on Monday and expressed confidence that the takeover would be reversed in coming weeks. The fall of the city called into question the relative strength of Iraq's army after months of U.S.-led advising and airstrikes. When asked if the death of Islamic State leader Abu Sayyaf during a daring U.S. raid into Syria would substantially affect the insurgents' operations, O'Hanlon said it was too soon to tell. And that is it for today's edition of Newsline. For any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email them to us, newsline.nbt@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook by simply typing in NNT. And do check out our website at thainews.prd.go.th/newsing. We're saying goodbye today with the disabled in Brazil showing off their dancing moves. I'm Sandra Hanud Saha for Newsline. Have a spectacular day. สวัสดีค่ะ